You gonna have any fights this week? Oh man, we gotta have some fights.
We got our ass whooped. We got to put pads on. I don't know. I mean, got to get on the sled. It's the same group that's, for the most part, all come back and same technique, same coaches. It's not a different scheme. So, obviously we're going to have to coach it better and be some hard asses on the guys, and guys got to take some rough coaching, because that just didn't see that coming on either side of the ball. We thought we had an opportunity to run the ball, and we didn't. We didn't do that at all. We tried and just all the booed us too.
I know you're upset with the performance. How would you rate your concern about the team's effort? It seemed like this is one of the first games under your leadership that the team just didn't seem to show up tonight.
I think there was definitely some individuals that made business decisions, and we'll make business decisions going forward as well.
After the game, you talked about the Raiders having to make business decisions. Have you made any of those yet?
No, we haven't. Got to give it to the players first.
I would say a lot was made of that comment. National media-wise this morning. I guess as you think about it, are you happy that you pointed it out?
I don't bite my tongue.
And there you go. After that embarrassing loss, there you go. AP was not too happy in that press conference, and of course with the performance that was out there on the home opener. Say that again?
I said he doesn't bite his tongue.
He doesn't bite his tongue. That's the one thing. He doesn't bite his tongue. Welcome to an early edition of the cage match, because Asylum got so crazy, angry at that loss, they were trying to sedate him. So he ended up taking off, breaking free, and he's somewhere over international waters right now. So we found him.
I took the wrong bus and somehow ended up across the pond. Born in East Las Vegas. So yes, we are doing an early episode, and if we can stay within 2 hours, where we play it again at 5 o'clock regular Pacific Standard Time. Let me be Pacific here.
Maybe it's Pacific, that you're across the Atlantic somewhere, specifically not the Pacific. All right. Now, before we get into this embarrassing game, we do have to talk about it. Even though
so far everything's going great, Anna. I can't really get into the chats right now, so I'm kind of limited.
Yes, like we said, he's out there hiding from
hiding from the what do you call them? The doctors over there at the mental institution. They're trying to find you. So real quick before we go into our shameless plug, real quick, shouts out to. Oh, look, because he's a Niner fan. I didn't want to say it out loud, but shouts out to KDO. He is my cousin out there. He is the one that put the music for the cage match, and also the music you just heard right now. That's also his beats. So thank you, KDO. Shouts out to KDO for making the music for our show. Shouts out to KDO. Anna's in the chat like always. Anna, let me know if you got your package. I did send them out. I did for reals. I did. Shouts out to for real. Jason Downs. One thing with AP is if he says to the press, he'll say it to his players' faces. He ain't, like he said, he don't bite his tongue. And I'm not gonna put his comment up because, well, you know, whatever. Douglas Sinclair. Shouts out to our other number one viewer. He is a hidden Raider fan.
Hey, that's better. You see, he can't talk no shit because his fucking team is the same record as us.
What was that again?
Shit talking.
Arcadio, let us know. We're all on the same boat. So, anyways, speaking of shameless comments, let's go into our, and I got it. Let's go into our shameless plug.
Oh,
that's you.
I know. I thought you said you got it. I'm sorry. I thought you weren't good at this time. Okay. Go to the YouTube channel, The Cage Match Show. Like, share, subscribe, give a thumbs up, hit that bell. That way, every time a new video drops or short, we've been putting a lot of shorts out there. You get to see them. If for whatever reason something happens and you can't catch us on YouTube, you can catch us on Facebook at, first of all, the Oakland Raiders Savage page or the Asylum page on Facebook. And after the show's over, either this one or the replay, then go to WGG and go ahead and get yourself some energy because you know what? We're going to need it this next week. And, or make yourself an order. And when you're getting ready to check out, put Cage Match, one word, in the discount code and get 10% off your whole order.
And like we always say, it's been rough, but when you think of wins, you think of dubs. When you think of dubs, think of Dubby. Get their energy like Max Crosby. Even at 50% with his injury, he still went out there and tried to give us all. He's not the one there talking about business decisions, but
no, he wasn't. But you almost feel like he shouldn't have been out there. He was hot. That ankle hurt him a little bit more than I think he was letting on. Go ahead, do your thing though. Sorry, my bad.
Morphine is a powerful. No, joking. Sana, colita. No. 10% off your order. Go to.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug. Oh, sorry.
LT approved. Lawrence Taylor approved. Cage Match, one word. CAGEMATCH. In the code in the box, get your 10% off your whole order. And also shouts out to the compa Fabian. Go to www.rn4lifer.com, RaiderNationForLifer.com. That's an easy way to remember it. Go there, check out his merch. He has great merch. You know, I'm gonna make a graphic that shows some of the stuff that he has because, well, like I always say, I only wear hats from the man himself, Fabian. So go there, check it out, and also shouts out to Raiderman19, Raiderman19.com, the Raiderman from Richmond podcast should be coming up soon. So check that out. He also has his own merch, the Oath merch, which is the oath that you hear at the end of our intro. So go there, check that out, and like we always say, somehow, someway, maybe if he was at the Torch in this game, they would have got a little more fired up for this game. But we want to try to find a way to get Raiderman to the Torch. He's a big part of the show. You hear it at the end of the intro, like I said. Have him. We want him to go up there. That Oakland Raider mystique with the new Raider way in Vegas, merging the superpowers together. Oh, yeah. And get the fans fired up.
Combined.
It wasn't the fans that wasn't. The fans came out there, they were fired up. The players, though, need a little extra fire. And maybe that can be something that Raiderman can light underneath them. So shouts out to Raiderman. And of course, we got to talk about this right here, man. This right here, 36-22. It looks closer on this final stats than it did in the actual game. But do we dare go into the X screen just to get it over with?
Get it over with. Pull the plug. Pull the Band-Aid off. Get
Pull
it
the
over with.
band-aid,
Do it fast.
pull the plug. All right, let me
Honestly,
take this.
the plug was the wrong one. Don't pull the plug yet.
Don't
Just
pull the
Band-Aid
plug.
off.
Okay,
Pull the wax off. Just go. Just do it.
Hold on.
Go.
I gotta warm up the Xbox right here. The X screen. If the Xbox wants to sponsor us, hey, I'll take it. So, yeah, let's go right here to the X screen right now. And there we go. And we need a little music just to kind of perk it up a little bit, even though it wasn't that good. All right, Asylum, here we go. We got Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle. Basically was the Red Rocket because the way
You going to start too? he earned the nickname. Give him his nickname. He ain't the Red Rocket.
the Red Rifle. Okay, the Red Rifle.
Because we might have been the Rocket. The Red Rifle kicked our ass.
Yeah. Yeah, they from the first drive he went down the field, and they said that was the first time in a while that the Panthers were able to go downfield in the first drive and score. We saw right there, Trey Tucker. That was your keys to the game last week. Get them going, and they tried, but they didn't get to him enough. They did score to tie up the game 7-7 with the run in by Madison.
Oh, I mean, in the beginning here, the game looked good. It looked manageable. Yeah, we were able to stop. We were able to keep close, and going. And in the end, I mean, there was some good things in the game, and unfortunately, nobody's commenting or all they want to focus in on the negatives. I did see some positives. It was just unfortunate. Andy Dalton kept his record perfect against us. He has our number. And, he was able to do what needed to be done and put the pressure on and just kept going. I mean, he never let his foot off our throat. And we'll get into more details on, throughout the game. And he just did what had to be. I mean, throws like that are going to win games. And that comes from experience.
Yeah, and with Andy Dalton, with his 15 years in the game, he sure showed that, hey, just get me in there, and I have my 4-0 record versus the Raiders. I'm going to make things happen, and that's what he did. And this is the one thing, our defense could not even make tackles. This is like...
But what did I tell you last week? I hope the defense does not come in being tired from all the time they spent and playing as hard as they did, and to me, that's what I saw this game. The defense could not... I mean, they had splashes. They made stops. They did, they did do things. But they have been on the field for 3 games now, an awful lot, and having to play at such a high caliber that it was bound for them to have a game like this. And I turned around and said, in the keys, they could not come out and play like this. And I was worried about this specific aspect when it came to the defense. And unfortunately, maybe I put the bad juju out there. The defense came and played just like I told them not to. They didn't listen to me.
And right here, the offense was still kind of going, or was still trying to move down the ball. Adams dropped another ball. I mean, he had a rough game. Here we go, trying to go for a field goal, and it happened to be a miss. It was a long one, but he didn't make it. And that ended up being the first half. Right here, the first half score right here. 21-7 going into halftime. AP was mad. The fans were not even. The fans, they're already booing already because it's like, how are we going to let the Panthers come in who got smoked in their first 2 games coming into our home field on our home opener and start off the first half of the game 21-7. So,
but again, but we'll go to different things. First of all, the quarterback changed. It lit a fire under the team. The team, something changed. It went in there. It was something going. Our defense, they came in and attacked our defense. I mean, really, the game should have been 30-something points right here instead of the 21. The defense did stand up at times. The offense didn't. They had their ups and downs at this point. This game was still, manageable. But sometimes that change of quarterback, that change, those little changes, hell, firing a coach and bringing somebody in, can bring these kind of changes and players. Energy is a whole different thing because they see the coach, they're trying, they're doing this. Nothing against Bryce Young, but the experience. They brought Andy Dalton in to help teach Bryce Young, and right now he's teaching them on the field. I mean, they've been getting embarrassed. They had to do something to not be embarrassed, and that something, was to beat the Raiders. And again, they attacked the defense. We weren't used to that. The defense was tired. I'm sure they said, look, they can't maintain the pace they kept for 2 games. Just attack them. We've had some stops. We had, plays. We had some sacks at that point. And instead, what they do, they got back up, dusted themselves off, and came back and continued attacking that defense.
And they were controlling the line of scrimmage on both sides. So let's go into the second half of this game. And like I said, let's just get this over with. All right, here we go. Second half. On back to the X screen. Here we go.
How can we disrupt Dalton in the pocket?
Oh, wow.
Dalton.
Well, I guess I forgot to cut off the sound.
Oh, my goodness.
So,
Johnson breaking away from
there we go.
It's okay. I'm loud enough I can talk over it.
It's okay. The magic of the X screen. I can mute it on live television. Right there, the Panthers start off the second half with another field goal, adding more points to their total. We did nothing in our next series, so Andy Dalton gets the ball back. And all I kept doing is this little, he had some deep balls, but a lot of these yardage that he had were short passes and no tackling.
It was 2-3 steps back, and he let the ball go. That's what we need to be seeing out of Gardner Minshew. You need to stop with, going, it's 1-2, let the ball go. 1-2, let the ball go. Stop trying to force the run like they did. We know our offensive line and our offense, we need to start with passing the ball. 1-2 throw, 1-2 throw, 1-2 throw. Then let's start running. Stop force the running game first because our pass will open up the run. That's just the way we are built right now. And until it gets better, we got to stop forcing this of 3, 4, 5, 6 straight runs that ain't doing nothing. Yes, Zeus had a couple of good runs. The offensive line, I'm sorry. This won't be an unpopular statement, but throughout the game, I saw times the offensive line is starting to show that cohesion. After Mumford went down, Minshew had time in the pocket to throw. It wasn't like he was scrambling for his life every damn play. He did on some plays, but they're starting to gel. That cohesiveness is starting to get there. But how do you make that help? 1, 2, maybe 3. The ball needs to be out. That's 5 yards down the road, down the field right there. And then you let your playmakers get that extra 5, whatever. And if they don't get tackled right away, that's still 5 yards. Now you're at 2nd and 5.
Yeah, and you've seen Jacoby Myers started coming alive. There goes. Where's that music at? Jacoby Myers started coming back alive a little bit. Wow, this is old clips.
He helped me on my fantasy, which I picked him up off the waivers because somebody dropped his ass because he wasn't doing nothing. I picked him up and put him in the game. Thank you for the 28 points.
All right, well, the X screen has been acting up because of that game that we had. The X screen was acting up right there, but it's okay. It is what it is. So the final score, as you've seen it, is 36-22. Check this out right here. Total yards 437 and 331 in favor of the Panthers. 306 to 276 passing yards in favor of the Panthers. 131 to 55 rushing yards in favor of the Panthers. They just, whatever they did, all they can do is right. All we can do is wrong on both sides of the ball.
And the other part is the penalties. It shows that we only had 6 penalties. We had a lot more that were declined too. This was the first game that we just straight could not keep control of ourselves and was killing ourselves and killing drives or helping their drives with stupid penalties.
Yes. Now I do have that here.
Oh, look, see? Segue.
So I know where I do have that here somewhere. Oh, I guess I gotta upload it. But yeah, the penalties. The penalties was a big deal. And when I get that up, we'll see exactly what we're talking about. I can't believe my but yeah, the penalty was a big deal. And hold on, okay, I know what to do now. So I wanted to put this up right here. This up right here. If you look at it, the Panthers through week 1 and 2, you see their numbers compared to the Panthers versus us. It was just okay. Let's say it like this. Okay, first downs by rushing. Panthers had 6 in the first 2 weeks. Against us, it was 8. Passing first downs, 10 the first 2 weeks, 15 versus us. They had 2 penalties. They got for first downs, 2 penalties. They had 2 in the first 2 weeks. Only got 1 by us. But if you just go down the line, everything that they did in 2 weeks, we allowed them to do in 1 game. The total rushing yards, 148 in 2 weeks. They had 131 against us, so that was pretty close. The completions, 31 in 2 weeks, 26 versus us.
Okay, but the completions was a different quarterback. You got to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind. It was a different quarterback. Andy Dalton and Minshew similar, except Minshew's supposed to be. Andy Dalton and O'Connell are a lot more similar, and I think this kind of could go with, which we'll talk about later on maybe an argument here in the future for a quarterback change for ourselves or not.
Yeah,
Their
and
offensive
speaking
line struggled for the first 2 games,
and
and
speaking
all of a
of
sudden, go ahead. Sorry.
no, sorry, go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say, their offensive line, they had a lot of the same struggles we've been having. They did their quarterback change, and then look what happened. Is it going to happen the next game? We don't know. We, wait and see. And like I said, we'll get more into certain topics later. I don't want to give everything away, but I'm just taking advantage of setting those seeds right now.
Yeah, and if you look at the quarterback play, Gardner Minshew, the stats, 18 for 28, 18 completions to 28 attempts, 214 yards, 1 touchdown, and of course another interception. He's had 3. This is like
one per game.
Yeah, this is just like what happened with Garoppolo last year, and I've seen a lot of that those comments online too. That he's basically like Jimmy G. Sacks for loss, 2 sacks, 8 yards loss. Passer rating 84.5, quarterback rating 41.7. Passing yards average 7.6, and that's probably due to more of Trey Tucker and that long bomb he threw earlier.
Oh yeah, 57 yards or 54 yards, something like that.
But going to your what you were talking about with the penalties, with the Raiders themselves, the first 2 games, total penalties 5 for 30 yards penalized. In this last game against the Panthers, 6 with 54. So uncharacteristic for the Raiders. They do still remain the lowest penalized team in the NFL with 11 accepted penalties. We got to make sure you put accepted, and the remaining lowest penalty yardage given up in the NFL with 84 yards of penalties. But the Raiders, they looked flat. According to this, as you look at this and the stats, they look sloppy. They were either because they were tired, like you said. The defensive on the defensive side, they weren't as disciplined.
You have tired. You have injuries. You lost. You find out you lost Koontz for the season. Crosby was banged up. I believe there was a couple of other players banged up. Diablo was banged up. I'm trying to think. Damn it. Anyways, we had people banged up, people not being able to play going and shit. And it was just one of those. And that only has come because they spent too much time on the damn field. You have players, Tyree Wilson just coming back from injury.
Yeah.
And, you're trying to get him to play and get him back up to speed. So, I mean, there was a lot of moving parts. As AP said, yes, this is the same team, basically the same team on defense, the same coaches. But I think what he didn't say is, they spent a lot of time on the field. And yes, we expect it out of them. But we've seen this happen with them before. And it's just, they needed that break and they needed the offense to come up and do their job. And unfortunately, whether it was play calling, whether it was Minshew, whether it was the run game, which we know that ties into the damn offensive line anyways. Whatever it was, the offense was stagnant yet again, and that leads to the defense on the field. Timing, what was the time of possession? I think they had like 38 minutes.
Time of possession 36.2. Sorry, 36.2. 36 minutes and 2 seconds. Over 23 and minutes and 58 seconds in favor of the Panthers. They had 36 to our 23.
And I guarantee if we had them to be able to put up, you look at the Ravens game and you look at the first game. Every team right now, even the game we won, they still won the time of possession, which means our defense was on the field longer than the offense every damn time.
Well, if we look at the let's just go to the Ravens. I'll show you the Ravens stats right here. Our game against the Ravens. 30 minutes. We had 30 minutes to their 29, so that was basically even.
Oh, okay. So I was wrong on that one. But I guarantee, the Chargers was the other way around too. I thought we won. I thought the Ravens was slightly higher than us. But still, that's still a lot of time on the field. So,
yeah.
It's you can't be letting the defense. You have to give. Yeah, no, I know. But you got to be giving them a break. You have to give them a break. I will. I'll give the defense this mulligan just because I don't care. Even top defenses, when they're on the field for so long, they tend to start having problems, and that's all this was. I'm not worried about the defense at all, other than maybe some key injuries, and it's going to affect some things. But I still think we got a strong defense that can overcome all this.
Yes, and if you look at the quarterback comparison between the two starting quarterbacks, Andy Dalton and Gardner Minshew, Andy Dalton 26 out of 37 over Gardner Minshew 18 over 28. The completion percentage 70.3 to 64.3 in favor of Andy Dalton. 319 yards to 214 favor of Andy Dalton. 8.6 yards average passing yards to 7.6 in favor of Dalton. 3 touchdowns to 1 in favor of Dalton. I know we had 2 passing touchdowns. The other one went to Aiden O'Connell in garbage time at the end. Andy Dalton was clean again. No interceptions. The Raiders have not had an interception against Andy Dalton, and now the 5th time he's seen him. Gardner Minshew throwing his 3rd in each game.
Got sacks this time.
Yeah,
remember we only sacked him in his first game he played against us.
We sacked him twice in his first game, and we sacked him twice, I guess, I want to say, hopefully in his last game. 2 sacks for 13 lost yards compared to us, 2 sacks for 8 lost yards. So I guess, in a way, we favor that side. And the offense itself, the Raider offense, Zamir White, 10 carries for 34 yards with a 3.4 average. Gardner Minshew, 3 carries. He scrambled. He had that one where he almost got the first down. He had 14 yards. And Madison had 3 carries for 7 yards, but a 2.4 average, and he did have that 1 touchdown.
Since you brought it up, I was going to wait until a little bit later, but I'm going to say it here. All right. If we're going, staying with Gardner Minshew, I'm going to turn around and say the same thing that a lot of fucking fans in the past said about Derek Carr. Start running the fucking ball. Start moving forward. Stop running around in circles and stopping when you get to the damn line of scrimmage and shit, and start taking off for positive yards. Because you know what? Just running around in circles and stopping at the line and all this other bullshit is not fucking working.
Yeah,
take off and keep the defense honest.
There were a couple of plays where you saw Gardner Minshew, the pocket would get tight, but it wasn't collapsing yet. And then he's already trying to run forward, run backward, run to the side. And now, because now he's up against the line, the back of his offensive lineman, he can't see over them. So he's trying to find a way to get out the throw, and that's where he ends up running right into a defender's arms and getting corralled and getting tackled. On the receiving end over here, Trey Tucker had a career game, 7 receptions for 96 yards, 13.7 average, and he had the 1 touchdown. Myers, 7 receptions, 62 yards, 8.9 average with 1 touchdown. He also had a 2-point conversion at the back of the end zone. Brock Bowers, 3 receptions, 41 yards with a 13.7. He is the second leading tight end in the NFL behind Dallas Gobert with the Eagles with 197 yards, but he's first in receptions with 18. Brock Bowers is. Devontae Adams four receptions, 40 yards, and then you have the running backs Madison, Abdullah, and then one thrown to Mayer, one catch for Mayer, 7 yards. That's only, I think it was like almost for a first down. If you look at these numbers right here, total rushing yards was 55 yards and a touchdown. NFL rank 32. Our average is 51 yards in the 3 games. Our average is 51 yards with the 2 touchdowns.
I was going to say, you want to talk about every game? Madison now has a touchdown in every game.
Madison does have a touchdown. The first game against the Chargers was the receiving touchdown. He had that first touchdown against the Ravens last week, was running it in up the middle in the same play, running it up the middle. So Madison does have a touchdown in each game he's played as a Raider. Total passing, 276 yards in this game and a touchdown. Our NFL ranking that. We're ranked 4th in passing in the NFL.
All right, well, okay, I check downs and we have obviously it shows our weapons because they've been getting a lot of yards after the catch. We got a lot of yak. But you know what? I think it's about time to maybe start calling out Devontae Adams. In these 3 games, he's had an awful lot of drops for being a number 1 receiver.
Yeah, he had that one open one against the Ravens, and then that he had 2 near the sticks. In this one, I don't know. It's very uncharacteristic. The big words they use in sports show, uncharacteristics of a Pro Bowl receiver like Devontae Adams.
And it is. And I don't know if it's Minshew, if it's Adams, what's going on here. But, let's start calling out players for what's going on instead of idolizing in this case. Adams has struggled so far this year. This is a non-Adam-esque type of game. And why is there no calling out on that? Why does he get special treatment, but everyone else is getting called out? In this, Brock Bowers is caught balls. Other guys are going, and there's been some drops going around, but Adams I believe he has the most drops on the team as of right now.
Yeah.
And some of them some of them could be contested. Some of them you can say on the defense, and it wasn't dropped, it was just a bad pass. But he has some flat out drops in his hands, nobody around him, and he does not end up with the ball.
Yeah.
We need this offense to step up, and that's including the wide receivers, starting with Adams. Jacoby Myers got a few drops, but I think that was more, and I'm not making excuses, but those were maybe a little tougher or things going. But he's making a lot of his catches. You're letting your tight end out catch you right now, and this ain't the Patriots, so that can't be happening. Not when you're the number 1, or you claim you're the number 1 receiver in the league. You're pissed off that Justin Jefferson is saying he's number 1. Well, Justin Jefferson's at least catching his passes, and he's playing with Sam fucking Darnold.
Yeah. Maybe we could have got Sam Darnold.
We could have, but when Kirk Cousins left, they weren't going to fucking let Darnold out. But, but that's the thing is.
No, I was going to say Darnold came from the Niners last year, and he was a free agent, and the Vikings picked him up. Yeah, after Cousins went to the Falcons. So, but I mean, this is all 2020. Of course, we're all 2020.
Oh, yeah. No, and I'm just saying, if you're going to call people out and you're going to go, and because we'll get into this later. There's been a lot of call outs. There's been a lot of finger pointing, but the one finger that has not been pointed, or the one player has not been pointed at, which I think needs to change, has been Devontae Adams. He should not be getting.
No, I was gonna say. I say the only thing that people keep talking about with Devontae Adams is, well, if we're gonna look like this, maybe we should just start training him now and start getting whatever we can for him now, because you could tell he's not happy. And Adams did. That was brought up when he was on Kay Adams a couple of days ago, and he was all like, I said many times, I'm a Raider. I'm here. I haven't been playing that well either, so I got to step up my game. So in a way, I guess he called himself out. But yes, I hear what you're saying because he is the star. He is the big acquisition we got a couple years ago. No one really points to Adams. It's more so of, well, he's doing, he's not happy, so this is probably his way of trying to get out, is what people will say, because that's the conspiracy theory in all of
Okay,
us.
but they're saying, if that's the case, if that's what they're saying, so they're trying to say he made a business decision.
That is P. Herman.
Ah,
That is the the word, the phrase of the day. But I'm
drinking
here.
game? Is that the word for the drinking game?
That's the word for the
Glug, glug,
drinking.
glug, glug.
Let's make a business decision, and let's just make sure that we drive safely and where we're going, and make sure you get designated drivers, or just stay home. That's the. Make sure we put a disclaimer on that. Anna says, "I'm here prepping the kitchen for dinner. Hearing all this is making me clean faster." Because Anna doesn't want to be called out on a business decision. Okay, basically. Nah. Shout out to Anna.
Yes, you never want to be making a business decision when you're. Sorry.
But now on defense, I'm sorry, that's not the defense. The Raiders, Panthers, they're sorry. Against the Raiders defense, Andy Dalton, like we said, 26-37, 319 yards, 3 touchdowns. Their rusher, their running back, Chuba Hubbard, 21 carries, 114.
Chewbacca.
Chewbacca.
This is the first time. This is the first time that the Panthers have had a 300-yard passer, a 100-yard running back, and a 100-yard wide receiver in the same game.
Yeah, they either they game plan well, or like you said, we were tired. We had no answers for their offense, and they were just able to go downfield at will.
We did it first. But that was the thing, is they were able to chip away. They were able to do what we should be doing, and just keep going at the defense. They wore the defense out. The defense was, I believe, tired to begin with, and they just flat out wore them out. I mean, how many times did you hear Max Crosby's name called?
When they said he's not on the field. That was
and then he was in the backfield. I mean, normally you hear his name 4, 5, 6 times in a damn game.
Mm-hmm.
This game, he was ineffective compared to his standard, and I'm only saying that based off the standard that he set. He was in the backfield. He got a little bit of pressure. He didn't get a sack, but other than that, compared to the standard he set, Max Crosby was not effective. And I think that ankle, even though he was saying he was fine, and I'd like to see what Coach AP did by keeping him out when he did. You notice that defense played a little bit better when he wasn't in there. They weren't going to let him down because he wasn't in there.
Yeah,
They got a sack without him in there. They played better. They weren't going to let their captain down. And this was the case that maybe, just maybe, Crosby shouldn't have played because that ankle was a lot worse than he was letting on.
and he was saying that he had injured that ankle on the second to last play against the Ravens last week. But I mean, the game was still too close to have him. After he had that one big sack at the end of the game, towards the end of the game, when he got Jackson down on that first down, you still needed him in there because the game was still close, and Jackson is still an elusive, running quarterback. So it wasn't like a Derek Carr on Christmas Eve when we were up by 2 scores and they kept him in the fourth quarter and he got his leg twisted around and broken just before the playoffs. So it wasn't a situation like that.
I was just talking about that yesterday.
See, I know how to bring it up segue style.
Hey, I segued.
Segue, we know how to segue like the mall cop, okay? Paul Blart, segue style.
Paul Blart.
Receiving.
We're about to Paul Blart this and segue to another one. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The Panthers' top performer, like I said, Chuba Hubbard, 21 carries, 114 yards, 5.4 average. And then Deontay Johnson, 8 receptions, 122. Off of 8 receptions, 122 yards, 15.2 yards average with a touchdown. Our defense, as you know, the Panthers were on the field for 36 minutes. Spillane had the most tackles, 11 total, 7 solo with a sack.
One
And
sack. I was gonna say, which one sack?
he had a sack, and he had a tackle for loss. Marcus Epps, and we'll talk about him real soon. He had 10 total and 10 solo, or 10 total with all being solo.
Did they credit Wilkins with the half a sack on that one sack?
Wilkins and Snowden got the sack together. So Wilkins got the half and Snowden got the half. So on that same sack,
I was going to say, because they during the game they credited to Snowden, but Wilkins was there too. They both deserve that. So I just wanted to make sure that they both got it.
Yes. So they both got that other sack on Dalton. Tyree Wilson was in there, 2 total sacks, both solo. Max Crosby had 3 total. 1 was solo. I'm going backwards. Adam Butler, 3 total, 1 solo. Jack Jones, 7 total, 6 solo. Luke Masterson, who was in for Diablo, he had 7 total with 3 solo. Merrick had 6 total, 6 solo. So a lot of the DBs were getting a lot of action.
Well, we were blitzing a lot, and that was the thing. When we blitzed, we were able to start to control that offense. When we stopped blitzing, that's where they got the big chunk plays. When they were 3rd and 17, I believe it was, we didn't blitz on that play, and they get the first down. But what led to them being 3rd and 17, we were blitzing the first 2 damn plays.
Yeah. Well, they were just trying to find. I mean, we couldn't get no pressure.
To find a medium and go and everything. And you don't want to show. I get it. You don't want to show blitz every time because then they can start calling plays for that and then be able to go. But it's one of those things. At the time, it worked for the first 2. You should have done it on that 3rd one. Got them off the field because I believe that led to a score. Then you turn around and that gives your offense hopefully gives your offense a chance to spark and go, and we'll get into the offense a little bit later. Yeah, it does. So I'm just saying, if you pay attention, all of their big plays, a lot of shit that happened, we didn't blitz on those plays when we were stopping them and doing good. Those few times we were blitzing at that time. That offensive line, they were in the trenches, like you said earlier. They won both sides of the trenches, and that's why we got our asses paid.
Yeah, and that's what AP said. That's why we got our asses kicked. That's what he said.
Any given Sunday.
Any given Sunday. Hold on, we're just trying to find something on my phone because I just thought of another new question for our later one.
No. Oh.
No what?
I was trying to answer the question.
Well,
I'm trying to.
At the end of it all,
I was just guessing.
At the end of it all, we are still in 3rd place. We are in 3rd place, and Kansas City. I don't have the NFL scores, but Kansas City, they are now 3-0. They almost lost. That game was close.
They should have. There was a pass interference at the end of the game that did not get called, and I mean it was a blatant one. Almost as bad as that Saints one, that in the playoff game that year. But it was blatant, didn't get called. So as we all know, the rest won them again. Any Chiefs fan need a New Jersey, go get yourself a New Jersey because you know what? They're the reason why you're 3-0.
Yeah, it's bad.
I said it. Oh, it's to the point they're not even hiding it anymore. I mean, once that I wish we would have talked earlier and brought this up. I have a picture for that. It was blatant. Dude has his arms wrapped around the damn receiver, and the ball's still 2 yards away. And I don't get how it wasn't pass interference. Back to the ball and everything.
Hold on, I have that picture too.
Oh, do you?
Yes, I'm getting that up right now.
Look at that. Teamwork. Teamwork makes dream work.
Yeah. Teamwork makes the dream work for this nightmare we called our home opener. So I'll get that up right now because that's what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to get, because I did see that online, and I didn't get a chance to watch the game. More so because after I watched the Raider game, I'm all like, I'm done with football for today. I need to no, I don't need this in my life.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not blaming the refs for any of our games. They've done well in our games. We have not been called. We're actually leading the NFL in penalties not called. That is, a great thing. I'm not
well,
blaming it on our end. It's been our play.
yeah, well, there was a silver lining if you could find one, and we did. Trey Tucker, like we said earlier, it was in the keys to the game on our last show. Trey Tucker had a career game. He led the team in reception yards with 96, tied team lead with receptions with 7 with Myers, and he had the longest explosive play, 54 yards, and 4 of his catches were.
And it was a beautiful ball. It was a beautiful fucking play. That 54-yarder,
Yeah,
it was perfect. He kind of had 2 defenders on him, but, looped it right over. I mean, it was a beautiful fucking play from Minshew and Tucker. Like we said, it just needs to be happening more often and stop trying to fucking force. And that's the other thing. We talked about forcing the run. Stop trying to force it to Devontae Adams too. Devontae, all this other shit will force single coverage, man coverage, all this other shit with Devontae Adams, and he'll get his shit. Stop forcing it to him with double coverage, and just because we're just going to keep throwing there until shit sticks. No, we got to spread it around. We have the talent. Like we said, Jacoby Myers with the touchdown. Trey Tucker probably should have had a touchdown in the game. Devontae Adams, Brock Bowers, fucking Madsen catching out of the backfield. What's that? 5 fucking receivers we could be, throwing, spreading the shit out, giving our offensive line a break, giving our running backs a chance instead of force feeding Adams.
it's
Just saying. Sorry. I
no,
know I keep
I mean,
deviating.
no, I mean it's like we don't have a rhythm. We don't know what we are trying to do. We do want to run the ball. That is what AP initially wanted, but he even said on his press conference, I want to run the ball, but at this point, we got to do something and not just try to keep force feeding or forcing one thing that's not working. Some other podcasters, I don't know if you caught any over the weekend, were trying to cut and paste his press conference to make it seem like he is the one that's in charge of trying to force the ball. I don't know. We don't know what's going on.
I've caught some, maybe not that one. I think I know who you're talking about on that because of a title and everything. But yeah, I mean, people need to understand when it comes to AP, yes, he's in charge. Yes, everything falls on him, but he's the coach that lets his defensive coordinator call the defensive plays and his offensive coordinator calls the offensive plays. He is the time manager. He is there and he makes the suggestion. Maybe we should do this. Maybe we should run the ball. Maybe we go here. But he's not calling the plays. So it is on Getsy when it comes to play calling 100%. And tell me that's not pass interference.
That in most NFL games, that is pass
Unless it's a
interference.
Chiefs game. Unless it's a Chiefs game.
Unless it's a Chiefs game, this is not.
The Chiefs. I'm just saying, the refs, that's the only thing I have a problem with the refs right now. If I had my ref, I'd probably tear them half apart because they're being so inconsistent right now when it comes to NFL period. It's almost like everyone keeps joking about the NFL being scripted. It's shit like this that gives that statement credence.
Yeah.
Why is the Chiefs, do they want the Chiefs to three-peat so fucking bad that they'll do stupid shit like this?
NFL wants to see the first time in history, man.
But then at the same time, the Raiders were doing their, again, we lead the league when it comes the good way when it comes to the penalties. We're the least penalized team in the NFL, which is a good thing, which is kind of ironic since we led the league so many years in a row as the most penalized team. So, it's one of those, you can't blame the rest of these games. with our games.
Yeah.
You can't blame them at all. They have not been a big factor. And every penalty, I'll say it like this: probably every penalty we've had out of the 11, we earned every single one. I don't think
Yep.
there was one bad call that you could turn around and say, well, no, I think there was a couple of holding calls that we got called for that you could say probably weren't holding.
On
But
that Charger game.
yes. But I mean, other than that, I'm not going to blame the refs for these two losses that we have. I will not blame the refs in this one because, especially this last game, we shot ourselves in the foot. We did it, and as we'll talk later, we got to figure out: is it play calling? Is it execution? What's going on here? You know, uh, I have my own opinion on that shit. When we get there, I'll give my unpopular thoughts on that because you know what, fuck it, I like being unpopular. I was never one of the cool kids.
We
Except for
have a
being a
break
Raiders
room.
fan. I was a cool kid for that.
Okay. I'm gonna that window of mine is gonna be stayed up, but whatever. All right, so okay. Let's go into we are 51 minutes in. Let's go into some news updates. So let's go to our CMN. Rest in peace, James Earl Jones. Our CMN
Yes.
news break right here.
This is CMN, a cage match news update.
All right, first
Thank
one
you,
right.
James Earl Jones.
Our first one right here. Sad news. Hall of Famer quarterback Brett Favre announces his diagnosis of Parkinson's disease. He told TMZ just a few days ago that he was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. They were saying,
No, I heard it was he did it to Congress, not TMZ.
well, I saw also that TMZ. So, well, Congress, TMZ.
Okay.
I know he said that he went to try to get a couple different opinions, but he was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, and the reason why we have this is because even though he was never a Raider, and then he had that big game against the Raiders in 2003 after his father passed away, he always showed love to Raiders and the Raider fans. And on his Hall of Fame speech, he did talk a lot
Yes.
about Ken Stabler because he went in the same year as Ken Stabler. Ken Stabler should have been in before he passed away to hear his stories, but Brett Favre showed a lot of love to Ken Stabler, so that's why we talked about him in that one. Other news.
Well, it's big news. I mean, normally you hear about CTE, not something like that, and I'm sorry, but Parkinson's is just as devastating as CTE. So it's just one of those things. It's a sad thing to hear.
Yes. I don't know
Sorry,
if he
go
was going to
ahead.
have a okay.
No,
Quarterback
no,
Gardner
sorry.
Minshew. Okay, quarterback Gardner Minshew named starter to face the Cleveland Browns this Sunday. It was heavily debated throughout social media and was asked in the press conference because Aiden O'Connell did go in there and looked good. And we're going to say it was against garbage time against the Panthers at the end of the game. But Gardner Minshew was named as the starter for this coming home game to the Cleveland Browns. So he was named starter. And we're going to talk about that later also. And also, big news, not great news at all, but big news right here, the big major news. Raiders hit hard with key player injuries. And of course, free safety Marcus Epps out for season with ACL injury. You saw it. That was Mumford right there. He had the knee injury, which opened the way for DJ Glaze.
Knee and ankle.
Knee and
He
ankle.
had knee and ankle for Mumford.
And that right there was Epps with the they say the non-contact injury, which we always know it's either going to be an ACL or an Achilles. Me and you were texting each other like, wait, which one is it? Because that's been a lot lately. But
Yep.
Epps had on Monday after the game, they said that he will be out for the rest of the season. And if you look at the list right here, Epps, like we said, he's out with a knee injury with ACL injury for the rest of the season. Divine Diablo, who was out this game, he has the oblique and he had the concussion. He should be questionable. This is as of Monday, so he's questionable. Richardson, the rookie quarterback, he had the hamstring, questionable. Max Crosby, another big one. He had the high ankle sprain that he had mentioned on Sunday.
And you have to be careful with those high ankle sprains. They linger.
Yeah, those are the worst.
They linger into the season. So this could be something that can go 4 or 5 games before it gets better, if it gets better by then.
Yes, and then we've seen the highlight with Munford. He has the knee and ankle, so he is questionable. But I wouldn't be surprised if they don't play him and put back in DJ Glaze. He didn't look too bad for being thrown in there.
For a rookie, and being the first time playing out the season, he didn't look bad. I want to get into that a little bit later. He didn't look bad. He looked like he give him a couple more starts. He might be able to get his feet on and be a solid offensive line.
I'm not going to the comments because I'm going back and forth. But Jessica, my
it looks like
fiance,
soda.
My love.
It's actually pickle juice.
I swear.
They don't have butter, so that's the only reason. But it's pickle juice. It's not soda. It is still alcohol.
So she says, she was trying to call you out like not Budweiser. Where's the Budweiser? Yeah, just soda. Well, gotta keep you sane outside the walls.
She doesn't know about she doesn't know about the pickle juice, so that's okay. We can forgive her this time.
My fiance showing love to the comments.
And we appreciate that. But no, going back to this right here, there's 2 key players injured out for the season who are up for contracts at the end of the season. And now you're going to be put in a spot. Do you re-sign? What do you do? Because they haven't played to show anything, but did they show enough before the injury to warrant some kind of a contract, whether it's a 1 year or longer?
Yeah, Marcus Epps will be
a free agent.
He'll be a free agent, and Kuntz will be a free agent at the end of the year. The 2 guys you're talking about.
And both of them are key. I'm sorry, but Marcus Epps was that silent player that the numbers didn't show exactly what he did for the team. And I think you're going to start seeing it since he's out for the season. It's going to show how important Marcus Epps was to that secondary when he was out on the field.
Yeah, he will be replaced by Polamau.
Liao.
Which he almost had an interception in this last game. He tried to dive one in the back of the end zone. Almost had it. So we'll see. He's in his 3rd year. So we'll see how that defensive backfield will look with the veteran now out, the 6-year veteran now out for the rest of the season. But yes, devastating news right there. Marcus Epps is out for the rest of the season, along with Kuntz, who we were expecting those 2 players to have big years this season, especially Kuntz. So right off the bat, it seems like every year we start off with some kind of drama. Last year it was you know about crazy. Yeah. Chandler Jones.
Yeah.
Going crazy. Yeah, CTE is not real. Which Max Crosby thinking is coming into the new season with a Robin, basically Batman to Robin over here, and he's out for his career is basically done. And then going into this season, we had the emerging Kuntz, and before he plays a regular season game, his season was already done, and now Epps' season is officially done for this year. Did we see the last of Epps in a Raider uniform?
To be honest with you, I hope not. I like his leadership. I think as a veteran, and again, uh, just for a lack of a better word, whatever, he kind of was the green dot of the secondary. He's the one who put the secondary in place, and I think it's going to show what he did. Yes, he didn't have the stats. He didn't have the interceptions. He didn't have the sexy that people look for and get drawn to. But if you actually pay attention to all the other things, he was a big reason why that secondary was able to do what they were able to do uh, to help. The secondary was always considered our weakness, and Marcus Epps helped to be able to show that they weren't a weakness. They just needed some time, and now hopefully he could do it from the sideline. That's what I'll say.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a long
I,
time. Like
I, I hope that I hope the news was wrong, Anna. I really do.
I kept saying, it's been a long time since we had a free safety back there that knew how to put guys in place since Charles Woodson's second stint with the Raiders at the end of the Oakland tenure. But yeah, bad news right there. And yeah, I hope he comes back. I mean, he's going to be in his sixth year. I mean, he's going to be in his seventh year next year, and this injury is early in the season, so he'll have basically
He'll
a
have
year.
a full year. Yeah.
To
I mean,
recover.
ACL used to be a year. Now you see guys coming back a lot earlier. It happened early enough. I think he'd miss like OTAs and mini camps and shit like that, but he should be good enough to make it to wherever he plays. He should be able to make it to training camp.
Yeah, the one thing that because I was trying to read about this with the injuries, it seems like a lot of non-contact injuries have been happening lately throughout the league, and you've seen guys like CMC with the 49ers. He's been held
Achilles.
out with the Achilles. They're calling it a calf injury, but it's an Achilles. It's in the same area.
Oh no,
It's the same thing.
they said he went to Europe, I believe it was Germany, to get some kind of special treatment, probably stem cell, for an Achilles injury. They didn't say a calf injury, they said an Achilles injury.
Yeah, well, that's what they're trying to say. Well, no, it's just a calf, guys. Just don't worry. Yeah, the Niners
No,
almost got
because
fined for not disclosing that at the beginning of the year.
that's because when people hear Achilles, they think, oh, he's out for a year. It's an automatic, Aaron Rodgers, which is kind of proof of shit. He was out for the year, but he came back early and was practicing. So it's just like an ACL used to be an automatic year. Hell, an ACL used to be your career. Then it was a year. Now it's not so devastating.
Yeah, and one
Trying
thing.
to read the comments. Sorry.
No, Anna said, why can't this team just go 1 year without any drama? And then
Because we're the Raiders.
she followed it with, on the bright side, at least we're not Dallas fans. That's a laugh and a check mark right there. But no, I was reading about this, and ever since
to do a job on that one, that was fucking.
ever since the CBA collective bargaining agreement with the Players Association, the union, in 2011, when they stopped with the double day, the double day practices and all that, I feel like when I was trying to read about it, and I was reading that the non-contact injuries like the ACLs and the Achilles lately in the last couple of years throughout the league has increased those 10 plus years.
Well, even hamstrings and quads. I mean, it's all lower extremities, but yeah, the non-contact, and I think it's just because they're not ready. I mean, they do so much, but there's nothing that replaces the actual in game, the practices, the actual football drill. You can work out all you want, but the strains that you put on your body to play, even in practices, aren't there when you're doing workouts or even half times and shit like that. It's just not there. And I get it. The players and they want to protect and they definitely want more money. And I can understand all that. But at the same time, they need these times. And a lot of players are holding out of training camps and mini camps and OTAs. And I feel that's why you're seeing a whole lot more injuries.
Yeah, and but I guess the argument is, well, all these athletes, they have their own regimen and they have their own trainers that they go throughout the whole year. But that's a lot of the more star athletes who have that money, that high end money to get the top, the top trainers and everything to keep them. But overall, like the players, let's say like the rookies and the first year, second year guys are trying to make a name for themselves who don't really have that kind of, to really spend, and they all make a lot of money, but they're still learning how to prepare that way. They can't prepare like they do back in the day with their team. And like you said, regardless, there is in shape and then there's game shape. And even you can do all these different exercises and weight training and, leg training or whatever, explosive, whatever, all that. It doesn't compare to the rigors of the NFL, like the games. And I feel like when you cut the padded practices away, where they're just doing run throughs and everything, their bodies are not building that callus to take on 16, 17 weeks of NFL football, to where they start breaking down. An Achilles injury, I read, is one of the strongest ligament. Like that's one of the strongest ones that's supposed to be able to change direction and all that. And you see guys who are just like you said, run onto the field in halftime in the Super Bowl, bing, snap, done. Greenlaw, the linebacker is out for the game because he tripped over the white line on the sideline going onto the field.
Tore his Achilles. But and there's the other aspect is offensive lineman, deep, or whatever it is. You got people pushing on you, pulling on you, doing all kinds of other things, which leads to something. I'm not saying that leads to those injuries, but you got that going, and then you go out. Maybe it strained it. Then you go out to do something and just step wrong, and since it was already straight, stretch, strain, all that other shit. Now it snaps. You know, minor tears, different shit. Now it snaps, and they just weren't ready because there's no way you could recreate going up against a 300-pound man, tackling you, falling on you, pushing you around, whatever it is. There's no way to do that unless you're actually out there doing that exact same thing and building up all those muscles around all these ligaments and shit and doing that.
Yeah, and then also having the ligaments be loose and not still tight because it's like
true too, yeah.
they're going. It's like they're trying to go from 0 to 100. 0 meaning let's say before preseason, because not preseason is actual games being played, like the physicality of it. A lot of these players, the Raiders, they had all the starters playing, but a lot of teams they don't play their starters, so it's like they have their weeks that they practice, and then they don't play the games, so they're not, with the rigorous of an actual game. And then they go into the first season, and a lot of these games they're starting off slow because their bodies are trying to get used to going from 0 to 100. Their bodies are not used to the tackling, like you said, the 300-pound players going 30 miles per hour at them and trying to change direction, the drop of a dime. Their bodies are not used to that. So the muscles are still trying to get loose and trying to adapt to that kind of activity, where some people with the muscles just to the point where it overworks and snaps. So.
Well, and you can even continue on that thought there is you use the Raiders example. Yeah, they play their starters, but sometimes just just a few series ain't enough. Yes, it starts loosening shit up, but it's not. You only got 3 preseason games, and it's not enough. So sometimes that's where you do some of the damage, where it starts loosening up, it tightens right back up, and then when they actually get out there and go, things ain't right, and that's where the injury happens.
Yeah. And that's, as you see all throughout the league, a lot of these players, they have career, but they have season-ending injuries.
Season-ending, yeah.
Without even a devastating, there was no hit like the Tom Brady when he got hit against the Chiefs, I believe.
Bless you.
Sorry, I guess I can't say Tom Brady. Thank you. I guess I can't say Tom Brady without sneezing. when he got hit in the knee, and he was out for the season with the ACL tear. So that made sense because someone came in and bent his knee the wrong way to where that
Wrong way.
ligament
Yeah.
snapped. But when you see players just running onto the field, Achilles, Aaron Rodgers last year, yeah, he got sacked, but it didn't look like a Derek Carr when his leg got twisted and broke his
No, that
leg.
snapped right before with Rogers. That snapped before he got sacked. That
Yeah,
was just kind of a hand in hand. If it didn't snap, he wasn't going to get. He just couldn't go nowhere. Yeah, that was one of those. It snapped, then it's getting sacked.
yeah. So you see these. Thank you, Anna. You see these players who, they just take a wrong, not even a wrong. They just sort of stop and go to the the opposite direction, and their leg just gives out. And you're thinking like these are athletes who should be in top shape. They're everything should be in top shape. It's not like one year when I was playing fast pitch softball on my birthday weekend, I drank all that Saturday night, and then I was late to my softball game Sunday morning. I play outfield, so late to my game Sunday morning, so I didn't have time to stretch, and I'm putting on my shoes, my cleats. I was going up to bat. I got walked, so I'm going to first base, and I'm trying to explode off to second on a base hit, and at second step on my right leg snap hamstring because everything was tight. My body was dehydrated, and I'm not a top athlete who goes and works out 24/7, 365. So yeah, but these are guys who are top athletes, and these lower extremity injuries.
And
they happen,
sometimes
yeah.
even just the workout. Sometimes they overwork out in the off season, and the muscles that they build up can't put the strains on these ligaments.
Yeah.
Then they go out, fuck up your fantasy team, and then you got emotional damage.
I see what you try to do there, and I was getting that ready. Yeah. So one last thing is one last thing I want to say about this. It's like when you're watching Tool Time on Home Improvement, and Tim Taylor tries to put too much power into a machine, thinking it's going to work better, and then you blow out the whole motor, and now you got to take out the fire extinguisher. So that's what that is.
Everybody needs their Al Borland, okay? That's all I'm saying.
I don't think so, Tim. All right. Speaking of emotional damage, we'll have a new segment because that's what we do. We just come up with some random new segments.
They're not random. They're well thought out and planned.
Yeah, but nobody else does them. So
just because nobody else does them does not mean they're random. We are just innovators.
I like that. Innovators, randomators.
Randomators. We're random innovators. Everybody wants to steal our shit.
Exactly.
We do it first, and somebody else takes it, and we just let them. We just let them have it.
Yeah. So it's like that's why we know that they're watching, and we're an inspiration, and we like to be an inspiration to those that are out there watching
we try
our
to
show.
Inspire everybody as much as we can.
Now, the influence of this new segment is based upon, what we see on other podcasters, people who call in to other podcasts, social media, what they say on the news. And for us Raider fans, it's been 20 plus years. Our last playoff win was going to Super Bowl 37. That was in 2002. The game we lost was in 2003. So, of the 2002 season, that was the Super Bowl. So for 22 years, it's just been, we're going good, and then we're going, and then the roller coaster that AP talks about. So here is our new segment. I'm trying to introduce it as much as I can. Here's our new segment. We like to call it.
Good job.
Thank you. We like to call it emotional damage. Here we go.
I'm just trying to tell you about my feelings, and that I'm angry, and I'm trying to get some closure on that. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next week at that thing, and hopefully you make one more move on me, you mother.
Emotional damage.
All right.
I love that. Emotional damage.
Our new segment, emotional damage. Let me make sure I have my stuff ready for this. And I think we need some music for this too. So let me get that ready. This is our first time running this segment, so
Oh, not for me. Sorry.
right here. All right,
Hey, I was
emotional
close.
damage. Emotional damage. Here we go. Asylum, you got to be our therapist, okay, since you got glasses on.
Hold on, I can put a white coat on real quick. Sorta. It'll be a shower curtain, but that's okay. Hold on.
It stole it from the
Here's my
doctors
white
that
coat.
trying to.
My white
All
coat.
right, yeah, in the blue tint, but it's white. Okay, here we go. Making sure that our concussions are coordinated.
So what am I doing? I gotta say it's emotional damage or it's nothing to worry about, right? Something like that.
Yes, it's it warranted or is it emotional damages? Here we go. Raiders
Okay.
shouldn't have let running back Josh Jacobs go to free agency without a better replacement outside of Zamir White. There is your first emotional
Okay, I'm gonna
damage.
see if I get this right. I want to see. I think this statement is an emotional damage thing because really, a lot of people are saying this kind of shit. But with this way offensive line has been playing, you really think Josh Jacobs is going to be able to run behind it and be playing as good? I watched him last year be able to run behind a better offensive line and wasn't able to do shit. So I think this is just emotional damage from the past, and then just Raiders fans are just being reactive. Did I do that?
Josh, yeah. So you're saying that it's just emotional damage. It's not warranted for people to feel this way.
Correct. Yes.
Let's see. Josh Jacobs right now in 3 games for the Green Bay Packers, 62 rushes, 278 rushing yards with a 4.5 average, no touchdowns.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of that came from the last game where their quarterback was hurt. Jordan Love, where they're relying on the run with a better offensive line. Just saying.
Yeah,
Before
I'm trying
that, let's get the stats. Before that, when they had Jordan Love in there, who could also run his damn self, and all of a sudden Josh Jacobs was not playing quite as well. He didn't get 150 yards in a fucking game off of, I believe it was 30 some odd carries. He was not getting that kind of fucking workload before Jordan Love got hurt.
Okay, let me do it one more time real quick. Josh Jacobs has 62 attempts to 32, so 32 is Zamir White. Yards, Josh Jacobs has the most with 278 compared to 102. Yards, basically average 4.5 compared to Zamir White 3.2. Josh Jacobs has a long of 34. Zamir White has 12. Josh Jacobs has 5 20-plus yards plays. Zamir has none, and they both have no touchdowns to this 2024 season.
I want the see. I don't care about this. I want the stats from the first 4 or 5 games of last year when Jacobs was on our team and see if they can compare to Zamir White's right now. I'm not expecting you to do it. I'm just saying. No, I'm not expecting you to do it. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. That's the point I'm trying to make. We've seen Josh Jacobs behind a better offensive line and not be, it goes. The only reason he's got what he's got right now is Jordan Love got fucking hurt, and they being the quarterback that they throw in there as the backup, they are relying on him, who's got a better offensive line. I'm not going to deny that. They're basically feeding him the ball 31 times. It took him 31 rushes to get 151 yards. That should have been a 200-yard game. And I'm not taking away from his 150. I'm not taking away from it. It was a hell of a game. But I think this is just emotional damage. People are still fucking pissed off that Jacobs left, and I'm going to say it that way, just like Khalil Mack. Jacobs chose to leave. He had an offer on the table. My understanding, well, coming from Hondo, probably better than what Green Bay put on there. He chose to be had his foot out the door because he did not like the situation, and he made a business decision, and now it's going to be what it's going to be. We'll see if he's still playing for the Packers next year.
The last game, this past game against the Tennessee Titans, 14 carries, 43 yards, 3.1 average, no touchdowns. His longest was 10 yards. That was this past game for Josh Jacobs. And Zamir White, we saw earlier Zamir White, 10 carries, 34 for 3.4. So their games compared, their last games compared. Close. 34 to 43. So of yards on the ground. So
yeah. So I mean, really, again, taking that 150-yard game out of the question, is he really better than Zamir White? I mean, he had a better. Again, I just want to keep it simple. I could talk about this probably fucking for 3 hours. It's emotional damage.
I want to say it's still a little too early to tell because it's hard to run when you have an offensive line that's still trying to find its way, and we're trying to find the right combination of 5 guys. Not the burger place, but the offensive line.
Hey. You can clarify even better than that because 5 guys can be something else as well as not just a burger place. Just saying. Family show.
At the same time, no. So I say it's too early right now. It's just emotional damage. As of right now, it's still too early, but that leads up to our next question, which was a set that I just had up. But let's go to our next question. After 3 games with no running game and no rhythm on offense, offensive coordinator Luke Getsy should be fired as of yesterday, as of Sunday, as of right now. Is this warranted or just emotional damage? Asylum, what is your therapeutic diagnosis on this one?
This one's tougher. It's only 3 games into the season. I understand where everyone's coming from with this and going. I want to say I'm leaning towards emotional damage because we could have our coach, and this might fall on AP on this, turn around and say, yes, you're calling the plays, but we need to start, like we talked about earlier, opening up the pass first. Stop trying to force the run and pass first to lead to this. I think this could be fixed. So I don't think it's warranted yet. You're only 3 games into the season. If we were in week 11 and still like this, I would say it's warranted. But I think it's too early to be considered warranted. So I'm going to say emotional damage.
Like we said earlier.
But not by much. Not,
I might have to write a prescription.
Yeah. Right now I'd say it's like 60-40.
The anxiety is there. Panic. Who said we panicking? That's when I say movie analyze this. Total rushing yards, 55 for this game and a touchdown. NFL ranked 32 with the average of 51 yards average for the 3 games with only 2 touchdowns. Total passing yards for this game against the Panthers, 276 yards with a touchdown. NFL ranked 4. So we're 4th in passing. With 244.7 yards average in the 3 games with 4 touchdowns, and total offense 331 yards overall. NFL rank as 21 with 295.7 average in the 3 games with 6 total touchdowns. That is a Luke Getsy offense. I don't know, man. I feel like for me, I have emotional damage because I was getting mad at the game. Like, why do we keep doing this? Run first down, run second down. It's 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7. Okay, let's pass. That seems like what a lot of the offensive coordinators have done in the past with the Raiders. So I might be on that ledge too, saying fire Getsy. I don't know. I'm just like all this hype.
Not yet. And I'm saying it's not yet. It's still a little emotional. We're in our emotions just a little bit. Just a
little bit. All right. Our next one. Our next one. Oh wait, I went to the wrong section. Okay, our next one right here. I know they named him the starter, but Raiders should bench quarterback Gardner Minshew now and go back to starting quarterback Aiden O'Connell for the rest of the season.
Okay, this is a tough one. Being that we're Team Ramrod, And
Team Ramrod.
I want O'Connell. Yeah, I'm Team Ramrod. But I was here. I forget where I heard it. I was hearing something, and it made a lot of sense. As much as I want O'Connell in right now, and I think he gives us a better chance. What kind of message does that send to O'Connell if you bench Minshew after just starts technically 2.5 bad games? He is the reason we were able to come back and beat the Ravens. 2 games, yes, he needs stuff. I said it earlier. Start fucking the ball, moving forward instead of around and acting like there's a field at the damn line of scrimmage and you can't run past it. Everyone wanted a mobile quarterback. Choose a mobile quarterback. I've seen mobility. I've seen the capability of running around like a chicken with his head fucking cut off, but I have not seen mobility. Start making smarter decisions. But
yeah, no, go go ahead.
I'm just saying, some smarter decisions, more running forward. If you got Green in front of you, take it. But I think it would send a bad message to O'Connell. And actually, there's a possibility that O'Connell could be playing in fear because if he plays bad, what are they going to do? Put in Bradley instead?
Bradley on the practice squad.
What kind of message does that send? What kind of mind space does that put O'Connell in? As much as I want O'Connell in right now, I think we have, and even Devontae said the Raiders came to him and asked his opinion. Apparently he wanted Minshew, that's part of the reason why I'm going. But I think for, the, what's the word I'm looking for? The development of O'Connell, you've got to keep Minshew in at least, and let him, give him a little bit more rope. If he's going to hang himself, he's going to hang himself. He's on his tippy toes right now. And so I think right this second, as much as I don't want to say this, I think it's emotional damage. And I'm talking about like 55-45.
You can't say hang himself with his toes now on a segment called emotional damage. Okay, mental health is real, but CT is not. All right,
yes,
so
I don't, like I said, this is a tough one, but I think you have to give him. I think you have to give him a little bit more. You can't pull him quite yet.
And even though
put it together and do like he did in Baltimore, that's going to go a long way. And he showed the capabilities. We just need to see it for 4 quarters.
And even though you've seen his stats in this game, 18 for 28, 214 yards with 1 touchdown and an interception. We said it a couple times that he's had an interception in each game he's played as a Raider. His overall stats for and the fumble overall stats this season, he is 73.7 completion percentage with 747 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions with a rating of 92.4. So he's not bad. It's just the interceptions has to be cut down to 0, and just the overall
decision making. It's the decision making. I feel it's like I said earlier. 1, 2, 3. Let the ball out. If you're going to run, which is fine, I'm fine with it. I see his little scrambles, but stop scrambling into, like you said, stop scrambling into the back of your offensive line and start scrambling where there's green. You see, I was going to say this earlier, but now I have my opportunity. I believe the whole game, anytime he rolled out to his right, it was an incomplete pass. I don't believe he completed a single pass when he rolled out to his right. Stop rolling out to the right. If you're going to roll out to the right, take the yardage that's there and get that 4 yards. Move to the next play. That's positive yards. That's a good running play. If you hand it up and your running back got 4 yards, take it, move on to the next thing, and let's start working with 3rd and short and 4th and short. And we might be able to convert some 4th downs if we do that. But it's going to start with 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, throw the ball. Not 5, not 7, no more than 3. It's 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, throw the fucking ball, and then let your playmakers, because they've proven they can do it so far. There's a reason why he's as high as he is in the standings, with the other quarterbacks, depending on yards and completions and all this other shit, is because he's got the players who get him the yak, and that's what he needs going on right now. Next.
So it's emotional damage.
It's emotional. It's barely. I mean, that was a tough one. I've been stewing on that, going back and forth, and that was a real hard one.
I would say as much. Like I said, I want O'Connell to go out there and show what he can do with his offense on this team. But I feel I'm going to stick to what AP had said when they named Gardner the starter early in the season. Is I see him by quarters. So this would be game 4 of the first quarter of the season. I actually would have been surprised if they did switch him out with O'Connell to start against the Browns. So this is just AP sticking with what he said in the beginning of the season. He's not flip-flopping back and forth. Like you said, it's going to mess up the confidence of these quarterbacks. So this is who we have for this season. So I'm going to say as of right now, it's emotional damage. But when we get to the game and we have the same kind of results that are not resulting in anything good, then we are now in that gray area to put in O'Connell.
And I'll say this: if he's being ineffective in the Browns game, don't wait till late in the fourth quarter to pull him and see what can be done. Let's make that change quick and see if it is Minshew and if O'Connell could do better, in that aspect. Give him enough time to prove or disprove the theory that it's Minshew and O'Connell's the better choice. Give him a chance. I'm not saying at halftime, but he comes out at halftime and doing the same shit halfway through the third quarter. Just go ahead and fucking throw him in the game and see what's going on. It could hurt nothing.
I mean, last year, 11 games played, 40.4 QB rating. Of course, everyone goes back to that Charger game when McDaniels did not give him help on that on the offensive line on the right side where Clement Mack
and he was sacked 7 times.
And even big name radio guys were using that as an example. But remember, football's a team sport. How did that person get free? It wasn't because he wasn't mobile. It's kind of hard to be mobile when you take 2 steps back, the guy's right at your back. So, that right there is unwarranted. I'm gonna say right now it's emotional damage. But I have high anxiety for this one too. So that
really
right there.
like I said, I'm already pulling the pills out of the bottle and getting ready to take them because I need my anxiety to start going down. I'm ready. I'm ready to take them, but I want to be smart. I want to be smart and make sure we're making the right decisions and not making decisions based off of 100% emotions.
Jessica says builds character, right? Maybe, yeah. No,
Maybe,
thick skin,
maybe.
thick skin. And Anna says emotional damage. I'm about to be an alcoholic every game. Raider. No.
I'm already there, Anna.
Yeah, Mountain Dew. Yeah, sure it is.
No, pickle juice.
Oh yeah, that's why I said sure it is Mountain Dew. Okay. Well, speaking of quarterbacks, I heard this one last night on one of the shows that I was watching last night on YouTube. This was an interesting one, and a lot of folks were talking about this because of Devontae Adams mentioning about it that, well, hopefully he could have fell down to us, but we all know that for this to happen, things have to happen.
I know where this is going.
So the next one is quarterback Jaden Daniels' early success with Washington proves Tom Telesco is a bad GM by not, capital NOT, making a move to draft him. Jaden Daniels was a second overall quarterback pick behind Caleb Williams for the Washington Commanders. The Raiders were number 13 in that draft. It would have took a lot for the Raiders to go up there because they weren't going to give that up unless you gave up your farm. Emotional damage? Or because everyone's pointing to his history and that we got him fired. Telesco, what do you think about this one?
I wish we had a different term for this one, just because this is straight emotional damage. This is straight I'm not even going to say emotional damage. This is just straight hate. This is just straight Raider Nation hating on them fucking selves because it costs too much to go up and get him. You don't mortgage the farm for one fucking player. How well did that work out for Carolina?
Well, that's a bad example because what they did to us.
But yeah, overall,
Okay,
yeah.
but hold on. But that's not a bad example because did that player that they mortgaged the farm for play against us?
No, he did not. He
No,
was benched before
it
us.
was their backup. Yes. So I can use this. Did it work for Carolina? No, it didn't.
Good.
Okay. Am I saying he's a Bryce Young? No. Am I saying he's a CJ Stroud? No. He had fucking 2 good games. His first game, I know I got him on fantasy, okay? His first game wasn't all that fucking great. Okay? Yes, he scored touchdowns with his legs. But he's not going to be able to do that all the fucking time. He's playing well right now. You don't mortgage the fucking farm on a possibility. And then you don't end up with Brock Bowers. Fuck, we'll read it. We don't end up with Brock Bowers. You don't end up with probably DJ Glaze. You don't end up with JPJ. And we don't end up with whoever the fuck we're getting for the next 2 years because it costs you at least 3 first-round fucking picks for a player that he's playing well now. Bowers is a generational player. Bowers is going to outlive, when it comes to productivity, I'll say it right here, right now. Bowers will be more productive than Jaden Daniels by the time year 5. Let's talk about those stats in year 5 and see who's more productive. You go from generational to the possibility of CJ Stroud, and he's playing well, but he's even struggling a little bit this year. No, and when it comes to business, you don't mortgage the farm for somebody like that. I wouldn't even mortgage the farm for a Bowers, even though he's a generational player. And I guarantee Jaden Daniels is not a generational player. That is pure poppycock and emotional damage. Everyone's just saying it because it's just working out right now.
Well, it also
You don't mortgage the farm. You don't mortgage the farm.
It also goes back to, everyone kept talking about we could have got Penix. We could have had Penix if it wasn't for the Falcons. We still could have won up the draft and got somebody else. I mean, if you're Tom Telesco and all these quarterbacks get off the board before you even go to number 13, you're gonna pick the best one available and not just I want to pick a quarterback to make everybody happy. It doesn't work that way.
What's it going to cost you to do this shit? Everybody knew if we were going to trade up, they were going to be able to fleece us. We were going to have to overpay for a quarterback. And every team that overpays for a fucking quarterback, it does not work out. Tell me a team that's overpaid for a quarterback and it's worked out. Can you tell me any?
Overpaid? Well,
overpaid.
Cousins looked. He still that the jury's still out on Cousins on that one.
We're talking about draft here. That they overpaid with draft. Yeah, they overpaid with draft capital. Because I agree, they overpaid, but it's one of those things. Money's one thing versus draft picks.
Yeah, and if
you're mortgaging your future, and when it comes to like Cousins, yes, it may be hard to sign a couple more people. You might have to research your shit, but I guarantee anybody who's overpaid in the draft to draft a quarterback, they regretted it every goddamn time.
Now, the argument that I heard was that we left a lot of money on the table, a lot of free agent money on the table that they could have went out there and got more players. But it's also the question.
But yet, to that statement though, we're dealing with injuries right now, right?
Yeah.
We need to go out and get maybe some players to deal with these season-ending injuries. Now, if we would have spent all that money that we got early on and have nothing now, would we be able to go out and get a high-priced guy now?
No, because we would have used it all up for this year, and then would have the injuries. So if everything plays out the way it does now, like it's going now, then now we just put ourselves behind a rock and a hard place. Let me just go through the numbers real quick between the two players, Jaden Daniels, who people say we could have went and did something to get, and Gardner Minshew, who we did, as the graphic shows, that our free agents that Tom Telesco has got this season. Let's go through the numbers real quick. Completions 73 to 61 in favor of Minshew. Attempts 99 to 76 in favor of Minshew. Percentage 80.3 to 73.7 in favor of Daniels. Yards 747 to 664 Minshew. Yards per attempt 8.7 to 7.5 Daniels. Touchdowns 3-2. Gardner Minshew. Interceptions though, 3-0 in favor of Jaden Daniels not having any receptions, and sacked. They're about even. 11. Gardner Minshew has been sacked 11 times to Jaden Daniels 9 times. But if you look at the rushing, Jaden Daniels in 38 attempts, 171 yards with a 4.5 average. His longest was 17, and he has 3 touchdowns off of his legs. Where Gardner Minshew is 7 attempts, 18 yards, 2.6 average. His longest was 10 and no touchdowns. So it's still pretty even. And also,
so I was gonna say, I'll go this far and say it's even. If anything, and it might be a little biased. Minshew might have this slight edge, but I would say it's even. So, with that being said, you got Minshew for what we did without giving up draft capital, and we end up with Brock Bowers, or we mortgage the farm to get a quarterback when it comes stat wise, who's comparable to who we already got, and we might not be able to get players we need next year because we are losing. We have the possibility quite a few players on both sides of the ball in the next 2 years that we could be able to replace. So answer me this, answer me this. So we are further behind and not able to replace certain players that we have the possibility of losing because we wanted a quarterback that does whatever, or did we make the smart move? Even though I want O'Connell, did we make the smart move? I'll get a little bit more money, keep our picks, get a generational player. We'll be able to have a chance to replace whatever players we end up losing due to free agency.
Commanders and Eagles are tied for first place in the NFC East with a 2-1 record. And the Commanders, their last game, they beat the Bengals 38. Sorry, I'm trying to see these glasses. 38-33. They beat the Bengals, but that's the same thing as we beat the Ravens. So I mean, it's still pretty even, and I think people are looking at the early success to Jaden Daniels because he has a higher ceiling, of course, because we basically seen where Minshew could be.
I'm not gonna say he has the potential of a higher ceiling.
Yeah.
He doesn't, but he does not have the experience that Minshew has, which when it comes later in the season and teams are starting to get film on Jaden Daniels, let's see how that turns out. Because
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, because that's gonna make a difference. The crafty veteran is going to usually in the end outwork a rookie and win in those matchups just because they've experienced it. They understand things. They've seen coverages. They've seen something. They go, oh, I've seen that before, but they did this to me, so I'm going to do this. Daniels hasn't. He's got to learn this shit. He's got a long way to go. He's going to be able to get cued in on. Yes, he has his legs. Minshew does too. I think Daniels has better legs when it comes to that shit. But we'll use Lamar Jackson right now. He's got the best legs in the NFL, right? Yeah. How many Super Bowls has he been to? How many Super Bowls has he won?
He can't get past the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. He cannot get past the Chiefs,
What shit does that do to you if you can't fucking... they can win the division all they want. They had the number 1 seed and couldn't do it. When you get that moniker of, you can't win the big one, then what's the fucking point? And that comes to building a team around you. Patrick Mahomes has, he does what he does, but he also has a team built around him. Kelsey, the offensive, it goes. And why does that happen? Because he gave money back. It's the whole thing. It ain't overdraft and overpay for fucking Patrick Mahomes. And if we would have done that, and I'm not saying the Commanders did either. They got their spot. They picked up what they did. That's correct. They might have their franchise quarterback. But we're talking about week 3 in a goddamn season. The sky ain't falling yet. It might be getting cloudy. It might be wondering what the hell's going on. You might have felt even a drop or two. But you know what? We got exceptions to the rule like the CJ Strouds and shit like that. Let's see how things go. Let's see what happens in week 7 or 8 when NFLs have teams, NFL teams have film on them, and let's see where shit goes from there. Because it's a whole different story. We've seen it ourselves when we started out strong, waiting for teams, and when teams got film on us, it was a whole different story.
I guess all I got to say is our offense, our offensive line, our running game, doesn't matter who's back there. I know he can run around and everything, Jaden Daniels, but whatever it is, no quarterback is going to be able to succeed in this offense that we have, whatever the issues or problems are, until we get that straightened up. So I believe it's emotional damage. It's just people are trying to press that eject button. Like, no, season's done. We could have got this. Let's just relax.
Yeah, I agree. People are sitting there, and on paper they had high hopes, and the fact that their hopes are not being hit, they're panicking and trying to do everything and not giving shit a chance. The offensive line. We watched that game, and watch how many times Minshew had a pocket to throw in. How much he had time. The offensive line is starting to get that cohesiveness. DJ Glaze came in. Help. Maybe moving Parham. I'm sorry. I think move Parham to center. Get things going. JPJ in there. Let him get his shit going. There's still some work that can go. But I started seeing some cohesiveness, giving Minshew time. The next thing after that is when we can start opening up, using the pass to open up shit. The run game will follow right behind it. Everybody just wants, is gimme, and not willing to fucking open their eyes. They got tunnel vision right now. Yeah. Open your eyes, start seeing the little shit. I get it. We're 1-2. But we're 1-2. It's not like we're 1-7.
Yeah. The offense does.
To see some. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I'll say the offense does scare a lot of people, and I just say the play calling needs to get something. It has to be like you say before, execution, and I say play calling. They go hand in hand. But when your line is still trying to figure out its way, yeah, your quarterback and your playmakers are not going to have a lot of great stats. So it's emotional damage. It's relax. But going on to now our last bonus one that I thought of. I heard this a lot too. Speaking of Telesco and his, GM. The Raiders paid too much for Christian Wilkins this offseason. I've seen this one many times. I heard this one many times where Christian Wilkins has been questioned, because you don't have the stats, the physical stats to show that he was an upgrade to the line that we have, that we should have kept Bilal Nichols for a cheaper tag and use that money anywhere else, but we still have, a good amount in our free, in our cap. But the Raiders paid too much for Christian Wilkins. Is this emotional damage or is this warranted?
This is hands down straight retardedness. It's emotional damage. I mean, I'm sorry. Where do you think a couple of those stats that Crosby got came from? We don't have Coots. Who do you think's been stepping up and taking those double teams and doing everything to allow Crosby to do what he did before he got hurt? Where do you think that? Oh, hold on. He does have some numbers. He did get a half a sack, right?
He did get a half a sack.
Where do you think this shit's coming from? We overpaid because in 3 games he only got half a sack? Come on, he's a goddamn D tackle. His job is to stop the fucking run, which granted the defenses have struggled here and there. But look at it again. Where are teams running to? It sure the hell ain't to his side.
Yeah, and then the one thing that his job was to, when he came into this defense line, to take more attention take more attention away from Max Crosby and Kuntz, even though Kuntz is out for the season, but to take more attention in the middle that can open up any blitzer like a Spillane in the back, or just to be that bulldozer to go up the middle. But like you said earlier, when your defense is up there, is out there all basically most of the game, they're going to get tired. So his stats are not going to come in as he's coming in the middle and bulldozing people over and whatever. His job is to take attention away from Max Crosby. And then when they start trying to figure out Max Crosby, here he comes to clean it up. So it's still early on that. I do not think that the Raiders overpaid for him, because all we kept saying last year was, let's get somebody up the middle. We need some pressure up the middle. And the guys that we did have with the same defensive coordinator and the same players outside of Robertson, who went to Detroit with the same defense, I don't want to say we're getting the same result, but as for the D-tackle productivity on the stat sheet, but Max Crosby was finding ways and new ways to get through. You saw the game against the Ravens. He had the three sacks and the two tackles, or the 2 sacks and the 3 tackles behind the line of scrimmage on Henry. So those holes are opening up for the defense to get through the line, and that's because of Wilkins. This is, of course, ending it with the big emotional damage right there. So yeah, let's just relax. It's still going, and we're going into game 4. We will evaluate everything. And as you can see, he had signed a $110 million 5-year deal, 57.5 guaranteed. But if we went getting him for that much, but we didn't break the bank on that, still means we're still building. And that goes back to the question I had asked a couple of shows before, is the high expectations of this Raider team. We still have to figure out our way with the new offensive staff and with the new players that came in, with AP now being the full-time head coach, with the coaching staff that he had brought in. So we just got to let this thing go, let it develop and just let it form itself. AP, as you saw in the press conference early after the game, that he's not just sitting back and saying the same cliche, we got to work on things, whatever. He did say that, but he also said some guys are making business decisions, and you see what happened last year with Marcus Peters, is if there is a guy that's quitting on the team, I don't care how much money you make, what name you are, whatever, if you're not going to help the Raiders win, and he said this in this press conference, then I'm going to have to make my own decisions too. So.
Mm-hmm. I expect to see something. I expect to see certain things. We're going to know who those business decisions were, because I don't think they're going to start. They may end up playing later, but they're not going to start. They're going to be sitting out for the start of this next game. I think we'll get an idea.
Yes, and that is our first time running the segment, Emotional Damage. Thank you for those who are watching. Let me get my... I just want to play one more time.
I'm just trying to tell you about my feelings, and that I'm angry, and I'm trying to get some closure on that. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next week at that thing, and hopefully you make one more move on me, you mother...
Emotional damage.
That is your segment, Emotional Damage. All right, with that, Asylum on the other side of the world. Where in the world is Asylum? I don't know. Are you more Carmen Sandiego, or are you more Wells Waldo?
I guess at this point, it's a little bit of both, right? I mean, I'm like the love child. Because I could be at home and it's still, where am I? Or I could be somewhere in the world. You just never know. See, Waldo blends into wherever he's at. Carmen Sandiego just travels. So, I'm kind of both.
You are Asylum San Diego?
Asylum San Diego.
Where's Asylum?
Asylum.
All right. Hey, I might make that as your new avatar. So you're probably like the wizard though. But
probably with the Waldo hat. Just
So with that, that is the end. That is the end of our episode for this early edition that we did. So let me get out of this.
And if we end it soon enough, you guys will be able to see it on time too.
Yes.
For the ones who like it that much, I want to watch it a second time.
We will replay this episode. We did it early because we found Asylum, and he was able to break free from the constraints of his asylum. So we found him and on the other side of the world. So that is the end of this episode. We've already played this on our regular time at 5:00 Pacific. I'll keep saying specific. Thank you, Jessica, for messing up my words. We intentionally used Pacific and specific the wrong way, and now it's stuck in my head. Now I'm not gonna. Yeah. So with that said, thank you for joining us on the early edition. We had a good turnout for our. We said 12:30, but we were still trying to get the satellite ready for Asylum on site.
Even though we were early, we were still late.
Yes, Asylum is trying to. Late.
Typical Cage Match fashion.
Asylum is trying to revamp the NFL Europe program. So that's what he's doing out there, because he's trying to make sure that we have our farm system ready, because when we had that, we had good players in our farm system in NFL Europe. So can't
argue with that.
Yeah, she's laughing at me. Jessica says enjoy your trip.
I'm trying. Thank you guys for saying that, and I'll be on quote unquote vacation here real soon.
Well, in the words of Biff from Back to the Future, have a nice trip. See you next winter. It's fall, you idiot. See you next fall. So, oh, and Jessica says, bring us some goodies from the other side. So that's tea and crumpets, briskets. I don't know what they're called out there.
Biscuits.
Biscuits, not briskets. That's meat. You can get that over here. But no, you're in Kansas, so that's that barbecue. So send that when you come home. So with that said, we want to thank everyone in chat, including Douglas Sinclair, even though I don't put his comments up, because no and no are two different words. There is KNOW, which means knowledge, knowing, and then there's NO, which means no as in no. So, but appreciate you for being a valued viewer. I'll say valued customer on our show. All right. Shouts out to Anna once again. On every episode, let me know if you got that package, because I sent that out on Monday. It's they're supposed to get there today, so let me know. Shout out to Douglas Sinclair. Thank you. You're 1 and 2. Well, you're 1 and 2 Niners, or the same as our 1 and 2 Raiders. So remember that. Shout out to KDO, who came into the chats early. Thank you. He's a big contributor to the show too. He has the music that plays in the beginning of our intro. And also Jason Downs early. Thank you for watching, and for those who are watching through Facebook or through YouTube, make sure you go into YouTube, subscribe to the Cage Match Show. We're trying to cut this off so we can play it again later. So, all right, then, Asylum, have a safe trip. We will have a show on Friday. Will it be at a different time? We'll see what Asylum is doing. And Jessica says, keep the haters in the building. So we will have that show to get ready for the Browns.
And take the Browns to the Super Bowl here in a minute.
Yeah, I was waiting for that to happen. I was waiting for that joke to come up. All right, then, Asylum. Thank you. Safe travels. We'll catch up with you for the Friday show, and everybody else. We'll see you guys on Friday. Join us. I will put the new time up. This is only for this week, because Asylum was out there on assignment to get the Raider Renegades going out there in the NFL Europe. I don't know what our team was called. It was a mix-up. All right, then. I got to get the last message going. So, all right, then. We end every show like we always do with a message from Raider Milt, a.k.a. Coach Wallace from my old high school. He tells it like it is. All right, then, everybody. See you guys on Friday. We'll get over this loss. On to, as a famous coach once said, on to Cleveland. All right, then. Peace out.
All you other NFL teams, your tailgates are weak. Your teams are weak. We might be down right now, but it doesn't take away the history. And all you Raiders out there need to know your fucking history of who the fuck you playing for and where the fuck you're playing. Damn it. Oh, and by the way, I won my last cage fight again. I'm still undefeated. And you NFL motherfuckers out there that you think you want some, come on and get some anytime.